The Crucible Knights weren't always soldiers, we used to be blacksmiths, says the Justiciar. The calm waters smell faintly of refuse.
Of course.
Let's see what lies this way.
The Goose and Fox. Roi Ninguen. This Stelgaer's belt is thick with dust and moths. The plaque below the beast reads Maiden Falls 2682. So this is a Stelgaer. Iravius mentioned this Stelgaer when we met him near the dead deer.
Nice and quiet.
Welcome to the Goose and Fox, says Bishop. Who is this Bishop?
Greetings.
The man behind the bar is nearly the size of an Aumaua. A handle protrudes from his back, and his face is set in a stoic frown. He gives you a small nod. Here for a drink? There's a tiny pewter cup in front of him. He turns it in one broad hand but doesn't drink from it. Arismita says, I'll order some refreshments. Yellow lamp? What? They sell dog as food? Interesting. I wonder if dogs are tasty as food. It's a pet, not food. Disappointed I am. Yellow lab and a black hound. Cute, but stay away from me, don't steal my food.
Welcome.
Arismital says, tell me about yourself. Bishop says, name's Bishop. Used to be a scholar of Berath. Now I run the Goose and Fox and keep the regulars in line. Bishop shifts, and you see a warhammer strapped to his back. What more is there to tell? A warhammer? Is he a warrior? Arismital asks, how do you go from religion to taverns? That's a little bit private, right, Aris? Bishop says, the journey isn't as long as you think. It started with Hollowborn and with this. Bishop takes a black bottle from under the bar and fills the pewter cup. Bishop says, it was my sister's son. He takes a drink. At the beginning of Whitewind's legacy, he was one of the first. I never expected there would be so many after him. Tragedy is part of the cycle, but it's followed by rebirth. Yet every year more parents were grieving for their hollow-born children, and the gods were silent. Arismital asks, what answer were you expecting? Bishop leans forward, crossing his arms on the bar. Berath promises rebirth, cycles. But the only cycle I found was this one. He taps the bar. Have a drink, have another. And another until I couldn't remember how I got home, wake up, come back. I finally woke up one day to see my family had packed up and left. For all I know, they'd left days before and I just hadn't noticed, but they were gone, so I came here. Why? Why did your family left? Was your relationship harmonious or rocky? Bishop says, stupid of me, I just realized. Bishop was telling me how he fell into drinks. That's why his family left him. I see. Bishop says, I've cleaned up since then, not that I've found my answers. He tosses the cup back. I've just stopped asking questions. Arismital says, this is a lively place. Bishop says it was founded in the early days of Deerwooden independence by a traveling scholar named Errol of Levy. He wanted a place where kith of all backgrounds could gather and hash out the issues facing their new country. Bishop rests his elbows on the polished wood of the bar. It didn't take long for the place to fill up. Brackenbury aristocrats argued with dock workers from the Gift, while soldiers wrangled with politicians. Deerwoodens have never been known to turn down an argument. Bishop takes a sip from the tiny cup. Arismital asks, what happened next? Bishop says, soon, kith were coming from the farms and settlements too. He waves at the door, as if expecting a crowd to bustle in. This place got even more popular with the Vailian sailors than the Salty Must, and that was the problem. He drains his cup. No matter what people say about fair-mindedness and civil debate, there's only so much people will tolerate. Errol found himself on the wrong side of an argument with the wrong Thine. And when he disappeared a few days later, some said it was the work of that Thine. Bishop shrugs, spreading his hands over the bar as he surveys the room. But Errol knew which way the wind was blowing. If you ask me, he skipped town. Hid out somewhere, hoping for rational minds to prevail in Defiance Bay. Bishop cracks a wry grin. If only he could see it now. Arismital asks, could I get a room? Bishop says, I'll show you what I've got. Not interested.
Greetings.
Arismital says, I'm looking to hire an adventurer. Bishop says, plenty of those around here. Irishti tungstan. Milkerus solomatine. The vulture. Lupites silvarum. Cainra says, that miserable bastardo. Cainra? Where is... Ah, there it is. A woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her, and watching it with furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with a metallic rattle. She snatches it up with one hand and slams a half-empty cup down on the table with the other. This is not a good time. Arismittal asks, what are you doing here? Ainra takes a long drink from her glass, just trying to calm down and trying to talk myself out of something foolish. Arismittal asks, something foolish? Ainra says nothing for a few moments, as if hoping you leave. At last Ainra looks up at you, and lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming along her cheekbone. There's something I need to give my fiancé, Purnish, only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends, and they're not exactly pleasant company. Arismittal asks, who hit you? Ainra shakes her head. I know how this looks, but you don't understand. It's not like Purnish. It's these new friends of his, they've brought out the worst in him. Arismittal says, tell me about these new friends. Ainra says, they come into our house with their dead eyes and their black teeth. I'm not a fool, I know what it means. Purnish makes me leave when they show up, but it's obvious what they come to do. Last time they came, I told them to get out, let them have their fun somewhere in the gift, but not under my roof. She scowls and then winces, her fingertips gently probing her bruise. Ainra says, Savev changes you, I guess. The Purnish I knew wouldn't have squashed a spider. I never thought he'd. She trails off, still feeling the swollen, discolored flesh. Arismittal says, I thought Savev just made people lay around, not doing much. Ainra shrugs. I don't really know. Seemed better than believing he's always been this way. Arismittal says maybe I could go talk to him. Ainra's hand rests on the table, and she clenches it into a white-knuckled fist. There's nothing more to say to him. We're finished. I just want to give this back to him and have a clean break. She opens her hand and a ring clatters onto the table. Ainra says it was his grandmother's. Even after this, I don't have the heart to sell it off. But if I go back there myself, I know what will happen. I'll lose my temper and I'll probably wind up with another one of these. She points to her bruise. But I've heard you're trustworthy. If you give this back to him, he'll know we're done. Okay, Ainra. How did you hear that I am trustworthy? Who told you that? Don't believe anyone says about me, because they might be lying. Arismittal says, I'll take this ring to Purnish then. Ainra looks at you and nods. The house is just north of here. Just please don't hurt him. As furious as I am, I don't want that on my conscience. Ainra looks up at you as you approach. What happened with Purnish? Did you give him the ring? Arismittal says, not yet, I'll be back. A dragon is outlined in charcoal pencil. The thick jagged lines and the faint smell of sulfur suggest that the artist completed this sketch in a hurry. Cliff Dragon, White March 2685. Mercenary is a good place to unwind between jobs. Sometimes I even find new ones. Sure, it's respectable. That just means Kith settle their arguments outside. That's how the Aumaua there got her job. Protects the loudest mouth here. Which Aumaua? Rumor has it the original owner was on a ship that sank near Rawatai. You mean this Aumaua? This bodyguard? Nothing loosens tongues like a good pint, says the bodyguard. My employer here is a man of strong opinions. They used to get him into trouble, so he hired me. Levi, I heard he was eaten by a Stelgaer in Eirglanfath. Errol Levy, the founder of this tavern. Nothing loose. Okay. Commoner. You hear this guy? Mad, I tell ya. I've stopped listening. I'm just here 'cause he keeps buying drinks. I haven't said a word in 20 minutes. He just keeps going. Levi struck it rich and lives like a king in the Deadfire archipelago. Noble. Are you here for some words of wisdom too? This sanitarium gets a bad name in some quarters, but they'll solve the legacy, no mistake. I was just telling this lucky young lad all about the backstage maneuverings in Defiance Bay. When Woidica takes back her throne, every man shall be happy in his place, not like those dozens upstarts. Are you here for some words of wisdom too? A dwarf and an Orlan debate philosophy on the other side of the curtain. Oh, a private room with a curtain? Interesting. Any prostitution happening behind the curtain? Actor. You've come to talk some sense into this fellow, I hope. This is a country of frontiersmen and farmers. We're not like the republics. The Deerwood strength has always come from rugged, independent types. Cram us into the cities and we'll be at each other's throats. Merchant. Hate to say it, but the legacy's been good for business. How so? It's driving people out of these stagnant backwaters and into the cities. Oh, I see. What the Deerwood really needs is strong urban growth. I was told Errol left the inn after falling in love with a woman from Celona. Hey, that reminds me. Reminds me of the Celonan ring I found at the bluff. Brad Furis. The paintings depicts Glanfathan ruins, and the canvas hears the rough brush strokes of a talented amateur, Ibrel Swell 2665.
I'll handle this. It's done.
Bartender's ring? This simple wooden ring is orange and grey, and it glows when you're not wearing it. The ring's actual history is more speculation than fact. While all sources agree that it was owned by Errol of Levy and that he acquired it after a period of exile, stories differ on the particulars of how he got it. Some say it was a gift from one of the gods, and others say it was the boon of a pact he made with a wicked power. Should I steal it? Anyone sees me? Let's check it out.
Slow and silent.
Okay, no one sees me. Let's steal it. I can't believe it, Arismital. You've debased yourself into becoming a thief. You're an aristocrat, for God's sake. Well, I'm not saying aristocrats don't steal, but you know, you come from a respectable family, Aris. You should maintain that reputation. Errol of Levy looks on enigmatically from the canvas. I can't see the painting clearly. How does Errol looks like? Scattered amongst such titles as Flora of the Living Lands, Unity in Disunity, A History of the Deadfire Archipelago, and treatises on the Kulklin people are half a dozen travel journals held together with twine. Two-Tone Wixel. Oh, a fellow Orlan.
Greetings.
An Orlan man relaxes with his feet propped on the table. I don't see his feet on the table, but anyway. Patches of dark brown skin peek out from under a full mane of blue-green hair. It's brown, not blue-green. He and the Orlan woman with him exchange laughs and comments with the trio at the nearby table, and he spins a dagger in his hand. His hazel eyes watch you. You look like you've seen a night or two in the wilds. Joining us for a drink? Arismital asks, who are all of you? Two-Tone Wixel says, the name's Two-Tone Wixel. The lady next to me is Key. We've had our fun with the expeditions, but we were hoping to enjoy a little peace and quiet. For the next few weeks anyway. A man at the next table nods at you. Dreadshot Didon. He says, I'm Dreadshot Didon. This is Hardy and Ilfa. Wixel says, we were part of a separate expedition teams, but we both suffered losses and decided to band together. Wixel ticks several items off his fingers. Beasts, barbarians, Beowicks. It's a dangerous time to be an adventurer, but a prosperous one too. At the next table, Didon raises his glass, and here's to many more prosperous journeys. Wixel says, is there something else you wanted? He says, "Oh, it's not a dialogue, it's a description." The Orlan woman nods at you, a cup of wine in hand and a scepter across her lap. Ooh, what is she using the scepter for across the lap? Ilfa. Ilfa nods at you, a pint in one hand and a mace slung over her shoulder. Hurdie. A burly Aumawa raises a hand in greeting. Dread shot Didon. Didon is busy filing a spur off a small round bullet.
I'll handle this. It's done. I'll handle this. It's done.
Ishana Glian. Harot Raul. Old Vailia, Southern Coast, 2670 AI.
I'll handle this. It's done.
Dash Oki. A chicken head? What? Bor Acharya. Lexcanium Macrege. The most unfortunate tale of Favia and Bernat, a Vailian tragedy. Scene. Laia watches Bernat approach Favia's tree, looking for her human form. Laia says, "Behold, now comes the fun, that for which I have waited. His love is forfeit, her life is forfeit, and all I have worked toward shall be fulfilled. He says he knows his love. He says no force in the world could keep him from her. But what chance has force against guile? Never will he find his love, for she is no longer his love. The spell cannot be undone except by her death, and by then it will be too late. But wait, he has seen her." Laia steps back to observe. Favia says, "Pray, mortal, why have you come here? These woods are not for your kind. The affairs of men have no place at this tree. Leave, leave ere your welcome lapses." Bernard says, "Foul creature, where is my love? What have you done with her? Always this has been the station for our encounters. Never before have I seen you. Where is my love? Answer, answer ere my patience lapses." Favia says, "Fool, this is my land and this is my tree. Your presence never before has been felt. Again I say to you, leave. My generosity will not be extended a third time." Laia steps forward again. Laia says, "Talk, discussion. I know the way to hurry the conclusion of his tale." Laia takes a breath and extends her throat as if she's yelling. A scream comes from the copse of trees where the Eugra stands. Bernard says, "My love." Bernard steps forward, brandishing his sword. Bernard says, "Prepare yourself, wretch, for not even death can stand between me and my love. I will have her from you, or you will meet your end." Bernard moves toward Favia, who closes to fight. They fight. During the fight, Bernard is grievously injured as he delivers the killing blow to Favia. She falls to the ground, and as she dies, the spell on her breaks, transforming her back into her Delemgan form. Favia says, Bernard, Bernard, my love, what have you done to me? What was it I said? What was it I did? Has our love soured in your heart? Bernard says, Favia, my love, my life, what foul sorcery has befallen you? How have you come to be laid low by my hand? Fie! Fie to the gods for such treachery! Fie to all who stood in our way! Favia says, Fear not, my beloved, for now we are together, and together we always will be. Nothing can keep us apart. But lo, why is it suddenly so dark? Where has the sun gone? Where are you? I cannot see you. I will find you. I will. Favia dies. Bernard says, A curse upon the fiend who has betrayed me. To hold love in your hand and have it wrenched away. Bernard winces and puts his hand in his shirt. It comes out covered in blood. Bernard says, What luck, what chance. Tragedy may yet turn to fortune. Favia, my love, soon I will rest in your arms. We will live together again as one, and forever shall we be side by side. I go now to meet my love. Berath, I accept your cold embrace. I welcome your company. I beg your mercy. Bernard lies down next to Favia's body. Bernard says, I am ready. Bernard dies. Laia steps out from her hiding spot and runs to Bernard's body. Laia says, Bernard, you fool, you wretch, how can you leave me? I am alone, I am forgotten, I am cast out. Without your love, how can I continue? Life holds no thrall without your visage upon which I may gaze. What shall I do? But hear my salvation, my answer. Laia picks up Bernard's sword. Laia says, His blade, his weapon, I shall be impaled upon him and he shall cut through me. I will not be denied my love. I will not be denied my love. He will be mine, if not in this life, then in the next. Laia impales herself on the sword. Laia says, I come for you, my love, my Bernard. Wait for me and I will find you. Laia dies. So the synopsis is, there's a man named Bernard. He's in love with a woman named Favia. A Peugra named Laia curses Favia, a Delemgan, into so Favia is a Delemgan, Laia is a Peugra. Laia curses Favia, transforming her into a tree. Bernard thought that the tree did something to Favia, so they fought. They were both grievously injured. Favia dies, Bernard dies from his wounds, and Laia, having lost her crush, Bernard, she took her own life. How tragic.
Greetings.
Viserys. Psst, over here, mister, says Gordia. A young boy watches the passers-by and counts a grimy handful of coins. His face and arms are smudged with dirt, but except for the grass stains, his clothes are in good condition. As you approach, he blinks and makes a quick, furtive effort to pocket his coins. Gordius says, "Hey mister, want to know a secret?" He wipes his nose with a sleeve. "I know a real good secret." Adair says, "Looks like we got a little hustler here. Someone raised this kid right." Arismital asks, "Really, what is it?" Gordia shrugs and clasps his hands behind his back, kicking a loose pebble. "I just saw folks hiding some really neat things. I could show you where, but Mom and Dad told me not to talk to strangers." His eyes slowly roll up at you. "But maybe you could help me with something, then we wouldn't be strangers." Arismital asks, "Help you with what?" Gordia's voice suddenly rises in pitch and tempo. "The Crucible Knights have these daggers made out of March steel. It's the best steel around, except for Durgan steel, which doesn't count because no one makes it anymore." Gordia stops long enough to catch his breath. "Anyway, there's this merchant over by the expedition hall, and he has a dagger made of real March steel." Gordia's eyes grow large and round. "He said he wouldn't sell it to me because I'm a kid, and kids don't know anything about daggers. But that's not true. I know lots about daggers. I know about the different kinds of steel. I know how the Crucible Knights make them in a forge. I know that the tip can pierce low-gauge scale armor, and that one that's good and sharp can cut through bone. See, I know plenty about daggers, and I really want this one, and if you could just get it for me, I promise I'll never ever ask anyone for anything ever again." Adair says, "I used to have a knife when I was in his age. I don't know a better way to learn what you should and shouldn't stab. I say we give him a chance." Arismital says, "Sounds reasonable. I'll get it for you." Gordy jumps up and down, whooping and hollering. "I knew a real adventurer would understand." He points to a large building. "There's a big merchant over by Atmeth's den who sells weapons. He's the one with the dagger. I'll wait right here for you." Gordy's gap-toothed grin stretches from ear to ear. Gordia bounces on the pavement. "Did you get it? Do you have the dagger? Can I see it?" Arismital says, "I don't have it yet." Gordy says, "You know what they look like, right? Real Crucible Knights daggers have a special seal on the pommel. Also, you can tell March steel from Weaflan steel because Weaflan steel has this wavy pattern, and March steel doesn't have a pattern at all." Gordia trails off, rambling about the various types of steel and no longer paying you any mind. Joining the Crucible Knights is a high honor, says the Justiciar. Dalton says, you were so lovely back then. The elderly man paces back and forth, taking short hobbled steps. His gaze is distant, and beneath it are the dark rings of many restless nights. He appears to be having a conversation with someone who isn't there. Dalton says, and the way you fought, cutting down two at a time, we shared quite a victory, you and I? Adismital asks, who are you talking to? Dalton looks up at you and startled. My, oh, by the flame, for just a moment I thought I heard her. He puts a hand on his chest, catching his breath. Adismital asks, what troubles you? Dalton says, just the memories of my youth in the Northwatch Ranges. Trials and adventures from a lifetime ago, he shakes his head. Of late, the memory of lost battles and fallen friends has been especially vivid. Adismital says, tell me about these memories. Dalton says, it's been nearly 60 years. We were known throughout the Deerwood then. We thought we'd adventure together forever, collecting coppers and inspiring songs. The wrinkles around his eyes deepen. That was until we faced Helig of Thane. He was a wizard whose experiments in necromancy left a trail of bodies. Some reanimated from Solace Vale to Midwood. We track him as he fled toward the Vailian republics, catching him just west of the Lake of Drowned Tombs. We were fools, seasoned as we were not prepared for his foul magic. Our numbers were nothing against his power. A wiser man would have ordered a retreat, not me. By some curse of the gods I was knocked out, and when I woke, my rangers, my Rowena, they were all dead. Dalton holds empty air in his arms. Adismital asks, who is Rowena? Dalton says, my friend, my comrade in arms, my love. We'd planned to adventure together until we grew old enough to settle down and enjoy our fortunes. Young as we were, we couldn't imagine anything would tear us apart. I know this sounds like an old man's madness, but I hear her. A voice just over my shoulder calling to me in my dreams. At night, I see her wandering the catacombs beneath the city, trying to escape. Foolish as it sounds, I cannot shake the idea that she's somehow down there, waiting for me. I ventured below, though it damn near cost me my life. Dalton hesitates. Were I half the warrior I was in my youth, I'd search every grave and rat hole. As it is, I'm stuck with this feeble body, and the agonizing notion that my love is somehow down there, beyond my help. Adismital asks, you want me to chase a dream? Dalton says, it's more than that. I know it. My dreams were never more than faded memories, but this feels as real and as fresh as the conversation we're having now. If it's payment you're concerned about, I still have plenty of weapons from my old adventuring days. They're well made and they'll serve you on the battlefield or at a merchant stall, as you choose. Adismital says, I'll search the catacombs for a sign of Rowena. Tears spring to the old man's eyes. Dalton says, there's an entrance just southwest of here, on the other side of the canal. Dalton sniffs and wipes his eyes. You are truly a gift from the gods. If there's anything you can find of her.
Hail and well met.
Dalton's tired eyes brighten. Did you find her? Adismital says, I'm still searching. dead initiate. As you approach the dead man, you can feel the faint traces of his soul, lingering, uncertainty, a stunned uncertainty holding it in place. When you near without warning, the soul hurries toward you, as though you were a solitary light in the dank gloom of this place, come to usher it away. Its essence invades your consciousness. You are in a different body now, walking deeper into the catacombs, cloaked in a dark robe with a mask pulled over your face. You are following a familiar path along the canal, heading to a room built around a statue of a figure wearing a robe much like yours. Others await, clothed in hoods and shadows. Ahead is another figure dressed like you, traveling in the same direction. You don't know his name, and that's how it's supposed to be. Out of the darkness, something monstrous grabs the other figure. You turn to flee, but find yourself face to face with a troll. The panic pounding through your brain is interrupted by razor-edged teeth and claws. A troll in the sewers? You snap yourself out of the dead man's memory. The corpse lies on the damp and grimy ground. His hood and mask are missing and his clothes are shredded. A troll in the sewers? How come? A vicious, foul-smelling sludge ebbs in the trench.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep to ourselves.
Slow and silent.
Keeping an eye out. Keeping an eye out.
Found something.
It's done. Let's see what we found.
Margaren's fire casts light in dark places.
Nice and quiet.
Oh, look at the pillars. It is made of skeletons and skulls. Creepy.
What's this? It's done. Let's see what we found.
A League of Thane. A lone figure in tattered robes shuffles across the chamber, muttering under its breath. As you approach, the figure halts and swivels its head toward you. Its haggard visage is a labyrinth of wrinkles and sores, overgrown by a moss-like beard. Helig says, "What's this? Who disturbs Helig's work?" Its voice rattles and gurgles like that of a drowning man. Arismital asks, "What are you doing down here?" Helig says, "Research, a hodgepodge of animalcy and necromancy. I have peace and quiet as well as an abundant supply of subjects. If there is nothing else, be on your way." Arismital asks, "What are those creatures behind you?" Helig says, "Just a few personal projects, sorry souls stuck in their mortal shells. Their flesh is as dead as mine, though their minds are not as well maintained." Oh, so Helig is an undead? Helig says, "They flock to me like worms to drakes. They're not half as intelligent, but..." Helig watches as one stumbles into a desk. "They serve for amusement." Arismital says, "I was just exploring the catacombs." The figure aims a gnarled finger at the door. Helix says, "Then go, and thank your gods I'm not hungry." Wow, a threat. Arismita asks, "You're Helig? Dalton sent me to look for Rowena." Helig leans back and bursts into raucous laughter. His threadbare robes drift apart, revealing an amulet, and a ragged wound running from chest to throat. It spatters a black viscous fluid on the floor with every cackle. Ew, disgusting. Helig says, "That old fool is still alive. I do hope he still doesn't bear a grudge for that incident. It was so very long ago." Arismita says, "What happened to you?" Helig says, "What's this?" He points a gnarled thumb at the wound. A long story. I was one of the first animancers in the Deerwood, practiced necromancy too, which is what put Dalton and his North Watch Rangers on my trail. He cackles, making a wet, burbling sound. Arismital asks, "What can you tell me about Dalton?" Helig says only that it's a miracle or a joke of the gods that he's still alive. He picks a bloodied crust from his beard. The only thing he loved more than his fetching lieutenant was the idea of his own legend. Arismital says, "He said you killed Rowena and the rest of the North Watch Rangers." Alex says, "Did he mention that they hunted me down like a rabid dog?" He adjusts his moth-eaten robes. "I just wanted to continue my studies. Attitudes towards animancy were not what they are now, and necromancers have never met with much acceptance. But they are corpses now, and so am I. Surely that's all well enough behind us." Arismital asks, "Do you know where Rowena is?" Alex seems to restrain another bout of chuckling. "Oh, you could say that. If you were to retrieve my grimoire from Moedred, I'll let you in on the secret." Arismital asks, "All right, what do you need me to do?" Alex says, "When animancy started gaining popularity, I came to Defiance Bay in hopes of finding a place where my research would meet with more acceptance. Worked at the Brackenbury Sanitarium for a few months when I met Moedred." He spits a glob of black blood on the floor. Alex says, "Let's just say Moedred and I didn't see eye to eye. It got so bad we were threatening to kill each other on a daily basis. Obviously that bastardo made good on his threat." Alec runs a jagged fingernail along his oozing wound, sank a dagger into my chest while I was sleeping, and dumped my body in the catacombs. Arismital asks, "If Moedred killed you, how are we having this conversation?" Alex says, "I'd preserve my mind and my memories with Angwithan magic, and a few timely preparation." Alec looks at his rotting hands. "Yet now my soul is anchored to this decaying husk." Alec's claw-like hands clench into fists. "Moedred stole a life from me and left me with this wrecked corpse and this craving." He clutches at his stomach and glances at you hungrily, but only for a second. Alex says Moedred keeps all that is precious to him in a trunk in his laboratory. "Just as he stole my grimoire." Alec offers you a key with a claw-like hand. Alex says, "On your way to Brackenbury Sanitarium, then bring me my grimoire and my revenge, and you can have your Rowena." Alec chokes on a burbling chuckle. Arismital says, "Farewell." Alex says, "Did you find my grimoire?" Arismital says, "Not yet." Alex says, "Don't come back until you have it." A bit pushy, aren't you, Helig? Dust and cobwebs have been swept aside for various alchemical implements. Though coated with rust and grit, they look recently used.
Let's see
I'll
what we
see what I
found.
can find.
The scattered feverish notes detail various animantic procedures and rites of necromancy. Tarnished locket. The silver locket is dented and tarnished. A faded portrait of a young nobleman still rests inside. His face has been worn away by time. A grim assortment of rusty blades adorns this table. Revenant. This creature appears to have suffered horrific burns. Its skin is blackened and its limbs have melted and fused. It plods stubbornly across the room. Arismito says, "Hello?" The creature does not seem to register your words. Arismital leaves the creature be. The left side of this creature's skull has been caved in. Its burial shroud has since tangled about its torso and neck. It stares blankly forward, mindless of your presence. After a few moments, the creature suddenly turns its head towards you. It makes a low wheezing sound and reaches towards you, towards the locket you carry. Arismital gives the locket. "Is this yours?" The creature takes the locket loosely between its broken, half-rotted fingers. It wheezes out another reeking gust of air, and then goes still once more. Tarnished locket. Alex says, "Paffa, it'll be useless now, until it drops the dang thing again. No sense in pining after things long lost, I say. But then it has lost half its mind, eh? Hehehehehehe." This creature's neck juts sideways at an unnatural angle, and there are rope burns at its throat and wrists. It suffers occasional spasms as it moves about the room. Arismito says, "Hello?" The creature does not seem to hear you. Arismito leaves the creature be.
I'll see what I can find.
Well, well.
It's done. What's this?
Corpse with a pistol. Someone armed with a pistol came down here. What was his intention? Looking for treasures? So these creatures over here, they must have been the creation of Helic the Thane.
The better part of valor.
Eorn, the small Orlan man, appears to have pulled together some crates and scraps of cloth to make a rather sorry-looking little camp. The thick fur on his limbs is matted, and his clothing smeared with blackening grime. He looks startled as you enter, his eyes widening in alarm.
How do you do?
After a moment, however, Eorn smiles weakly and says, "Hello there. Wasn't expecting any visitors down in these parts." He glances around the dim room. Arismital says, "What are you doing down here?" Eorn grimaces. "I've been a little down on my luck lately. Didn't have anywhere to stay, so I thought I'd come down here. Nobody pokes around in the catacombs much, not until you anyway." Arismital says, "A sad tale, but not the whole story, I think. What are you hiding?" The Orlan looks away, clearly agitated. Eorn says, "I'm just trying to get by. There's nothing else to it. And if that isn't to your liking, there's a whole lot of catacombs out there for you to have all to yourself." Arismital says, "If you tell me, perhaps I can help." Eorn opens his mouth to snap something, his hands balled into fists, but he thinks better of it. He shakes his head slowly, expression resigned. Eorn sighs heavily. "Very well, it's true. I've been hiding from the knights down here, but it isn't what you think." Eorn ducks his head. "It was an accident. It's been hard for me here in Defiance Bay. I suppose I thought if I got involved in city business, if I made the right friends, it would get easier in time, and it did. Really. I made a name for myself, a place. People actually listen to me when I talk. Well, they used to. People can get very passionate about these things. We were discussing, I think it was shipping agreements, of all the things to fight over, that this one night this man, he got very angry. I think maybe he'd had a little too much at the inn. Eorin pauses, and I guess he didn't like an Orlan talking back at him. I struck him. He came towards me, and I hit him. He went over like a tree. I guess he struck his head on the way down. Eorin lowers his gaze and shrugs helplessly. Turns out he was a knight. The Crucible Knights won't care how it happened. They just want me gone. They won't let me live long enough to see the rope. Please. Eorin looks at you with a pleading expression. I just want to get out of this city. The second I can get money for passage, I won't trouble anyone again. I swear it. I live quietly, but you cannot. Please, you cannot tell them I'm here. What should I do? I don't know whether he's telling the truth. This is hard. Aris Mittal says, Here, this should be enough to buy your passage out of Defiance Bay. Eorin stares at you in disbelief. But this is... His face twists as he struggles for words. They said you were a kind soul, but I wouldn't have imagined. This will see me out of the city and well away. Wait a minute, Eorin. Who told you that I have a kind soul? How did you know me? How did they know me? Eorin says, I'm not sure I could ever thank you enough. But here, take this. I hope it's some use to you on your journey. You have my lasting gratitude, friend. I should get ready. You have gained an item, rabbit fur gloves. Add it to inventory.
Margaren's fire casts light in dark places.
The queen that was and still is. Dear sisters, do you still remember your first deliverance? When you strangled your first wrongdoer? Did you see the moment when life became death? Could you see the instance when your victim realized that Voidica forgets nothing? When Voidica takes back her throne, will you face her with pride, knowing you have held to your own oaths, or will you be amongst the word breakers? Voidica teaches vengeance and memory. All while she is in exile, we must be her eyes and ears that let no injustice slip from record. We must be clenched fist that silences the lying breath. When Voidica takes back her throne, all of the injustices that have slipped through the cracks of history will be righted. The villains hiding in plain sight amongst the innocent will feel the burned queen's choking grasp. Pray that you live to see the day when you will join our queen in this cleansing of the wicked. But know this, my sisters, that we must be ready to see the end of our days without the return of our queen, for she will take back her throne, but it may be our daughters that serve the restored court. We must continue to live as we have always lived, aided by other faiths. What? Even though we place justice above our own well-being, at least the Empire of Aidir still holds our creed in proper esteem. It is a proper sign of respect that, by imperial custom, our clergy must oversee a contract for it to be legally binding. For who else understands the value of remembering one's oaths than Voidica's faithful? And let us not count our current blessings, for we still enjoy the support of the Paladin Order of the Steel Garrote. They too understand that society is built and broken by the oaths and rules of its people. When Voidica takes back her throne, my family will know that I was right to commit my life To the exiled queen, when Woidica takes back her throne, the Strangler will stop being a story told to frighten our daughters, but a hero woven into parables that teach our children justice. When Woidica takes back her throne, she will bring her flawless memory with her. Every transgression, every crime, and every injustice will be revealed. When Woidica takes back her throne, even gods won't be spared their due retribution. So, why was Woidica exiled, and why is those who worship Woidica, I assume, are hated by other faiths? Okay. The wobbly little tent is barely standing. The smoldering fire is strewn with the meager remains of a recent meal: fish bones, a molded rind of cheese, and a blackened bread crust.
I'll have this open in no time.
Margaret's fire casts light in dark places. Margaret's fire casts light in dark places.
I'll see what I can find.
And what does the flame reveal?
Temple of Waidika in the Catacombs.
Keeping an eye out.
Older robed man. In front of you looms the ghostly, hollow image of the man who was present at your awakening. He casts a pale, sickly light in the dank corridor as he regards you. Wait, he doesn't wear a mask. Unlike when he was at Sealand Lys.
You are from Catacombs, my boy.
His words are an echo in your mind from a time long past, and you know your response before you speak it, as if it has always been. Arismital says, only recently.
A remarkable city, truly one of the most impressive we have encountered outside of our own. Many exceptional people who have joined our cause come from Catacombs. What made you decide to join our order?
What made me decide to join your order? What is it? Let me think and remember, as if I remember anything. Arismital says, I'm honestly not sure. Wait, option number 2 says the world needs to know about the true gods. Interesting. True gods? False gods? Anyway, I'll choose number 6. Arismital says, I'm honestly not sure.
As long as you are assured in your faith, the rest is not so important.
The older robed man chuckles.
Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen?
Arismital says, I am. Interesting. So, this is Arismital's memory of his past lives, I guess. Just like Meyerwald had his memory of his past lives coming to him, so does Arismital. So, Arismital had a history with the older robed man in his past lives. Interesting.
I'll see what I can find.
Half mug. The mercenary eyes you warily as you approach, his weapon readied. He says, "What are you doing here? You don't look like one of that masked lot." What should I say, huh? Arismital says, "Relax. How would I know to be here if I didn't belong?" Half-Mug thinks carefully, then nods. "Alright then, go on in and report to the Acolyte and she'll give you your assignment. They should be just about finished with their meeting in the big chamber." Arismital says, "Any idea what's going on around here?" Half-Mug says, "A word of advice, friend. Don't ask questions. Just go and do what you're told." Arismital says, "Know anything about this place?" Half-Mug shakes his head. "As far as I can tell, we're underneath first fires. Probably under that ruined temple." Ruined temple? Was it Rowan who told me that in the first fires there's a temple for a deity? Was it Rowan or was it Justiciar Organd? Ruined temple, does it refer to the temple of the goddess that the robed men worship? Arismital says, "Farewell." So the question is, why is the why is the temple is ruined? Destroyed by whom? Or in ruins because of long abandonment? I'm curious. Arismital says, "Farewell."
Gods keep you.
Half-Mug says, "Make it quick." Mercenary says, "The Acolyte's crankier than usual. One of her masked friends got lost in the sewers, it seems." One of her masked friends? Was it the corpse that we encounter near the entrance to the tomb, with the memory telling us that he was snatched by a troll? Interesting. Mercenary says, "I don't understand all this secret handshake business, but it pays." Did they send you to check on that nervous kid in the library? One of the other men swears there's a secret treasure chamber down here. Heading straight for the salty mast once we're done here. Not a whole lot of excitement so far, but at least it's easy coin. Yeah, I can't argue with an easy money.
I'll see what I can find.
What's this?
Ah.
It's done.
You think you hear the faint sound of whispering coming from the skulls, but the words are unintelligible. So all these are mercenaries. There's a whole lot of mercenaries here. What the heck?
Easy now.
I think I see something.
Aloth falters and brings a hand to his forehead. He takes a staggering step forward, coughing and sputtering.
Back, ye clod! Those hooded fiends are nigh to be trusted!
Okay, his other personality. We first encountered this phenomena back in Gilded Vale, when he was arguing with the local. It ended up having me to fight them and kill them. Curse you, Aloth. Eder says, Aloth, hey, now's not the best time for that. Aloth grimaces, catching his breath. It's nothing, I'm fine. He coughs again. This probably isn't the best place to linger anyhow. So it seems that Eder is aware of Aloth's condition. Interesting.
The better part of valor.
You hear murmurs and chants on the other side of the door. A ritual of some sort is already underway. What should I do? Retreat from the door? Okay, let's retreat from the door for now. You turn back to the hall.
Let's see what lies this way.
And what does the flame reveal?
Initiate says, by the deeds of my tongue and... Oh, that's not it.
Hail, traveler.
A lone figure paces back and forth, tapping his fingers at his sides, muttering to himself. He jumps when he sees you, his hands on his chest. He says, by the flame, you startled me. The initiate pauses and leans forward. Where's your mask? Arismital says, it's too itchy. I'll put it back on for the meeting. Initiate says, well, don't let anyone inside see you without it. They are keen on anonymity. Arismital says, tell me about the meeting. Initiate says, this must be your first time. The Acolyte communicates with each of us individually to hear of our progress on old tasks and to assign us new ones. Initiate shivers with a mixture of pleasure and dread. It's a unique process. She's a cipher, so she can speak to you without words. Fascinating, until you realize she can probably read your thoughts just as easily. Arismital says, what do you know about these tasks? Initiate laughs nervously. Only what I absolutely need to. We protect the secrets of the gods, so discretion is essential. He waves a hand between the two of you. We receive our instructions from the Acolyte, just as she receives hers from someone else, and so on, right up to the Grand Master. Our role is to obey, knowing as little about the overall plan and each other as possible. Arismital says, tell me about these secrets. He jumps back. You shouldn't even be asking. Whatever they are secrets for a reason. Our job is to guard them, not to know them. Arismital says, how can you be confident you're doing the right thing when you know so little? Initiate snorts. That's easy. The leaden key has been around for ages by the blessings of the gods. You only have to look around to see the perils of trying to usurp divine power. Killing a god in the Saints' War has cursed us all, and the heresy of animancy has only worsened matters. Try to replace a soul and you inevitably end up with a monster. It's all been a warning. There are some powers we just shouldn't have. Arismital says, I see. Initiate says, we've been entrusted with important work. It's an honor, but not without its challenges. You need something else? I'll be ready for the Initiate's meeting soon. Honest. Arismital says, what are you doing here? He resumes his pacing. I've been practicing the passphrases. I know them backwards and forwards, but I get so nervous every time I think about repeating them to the Acolyte. He wrings his hands. Arismital says, why are you nervous? Initiate stops in his tracks. I've never seen the Acolyte's face, but I can't stop wondering what she looks like under that robe. He twists his fingers together, and when she peers into my mind, I'm afraid she'll catch me thinking about that. You hear him swallow. Also, if I get the passphrases wrong, she'll kill me where I stand. Oh, I see. So he's imagining what the acolyte looks like under the robe. Is he imagining a hot, sexy body, beauty? Duran says, "Ah, then look beneath the robe," I say. Fail her test but succeed in the more important one. Once you have nothing to hide, the cipher's got no power over you. Arismital says, "You should just stop thinking about it." Initiate says, "I know." He grabs the sides of his robe. But the more I tell myself to stop thinking about it, the more I think about it. Arismital says, "You can practice on me." Clever, Aris. Clever. Initiate says, "Okay." He ushers in a deep breath with fluttering hands. Here goes. First question. State your name and purpose. Answer. My name belongs to the gods, and my hand to their service. Second question. What company do you seek? Answer. I seek the company of shadows, that our labors may remain secret. Easy enough to remember, I guess. Initiate says, third question. Tell me of your labors. Answer. To see that the craft of Kith and Wilder does not disturb what bones the gods have buried. Huh? The gods buried bones? What are those bones? Initiate says, fourth question. How do we know your purpose? Answer. You shall know it by the confession of my tongue, the deeds of my hand, and the oath on my soul. Kana says, riddles upon riddles, what bones the gods have buried. It's very dramatic, isn't it? Oh, I'm sorry. Please continue. Initiate says, fifth question. And how is your oath guarded? Answer. It is sealed by the leaden key. Initiate sighs with a nervous chuckle. That wasn't so hard. Arismital says, sounds like you've got it. Initiate says, I do. I think. He bites his lip. I'm just going to practice a few more times by myself before my meeting. Arismital says, can I borrow your hood? Initiate says, of course not. He clutches at the edges, as if you'd threaten to rip it off him. The acolyte will kill me for sure, if I approach her without it. Oh, okay. Should I take advantage of his weak willness by choosing option number 2? But what if he ends up dead because he has his hood removed? I don't want that to fall on him. Arismital says, forget about it. The acolyte is no one to be trifled with, says the initiate. Arismital says goodbye. However, I want to know if I can approach him again in case I want to take his hood. Yes, I can choose number 3. Initiate says, you need something else? I'll be ready for the initiate's meeting soon, honest. Goodbye.
I'll handle this. It's done.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep to ourselves.
A book lies on the table, its pages filled with some kind of unintelligible cryptography. Alright. I missed a corpse. Voidica hood. A dark mask bearing the stylized countenance of Voidica is attached by a thread to a black hood. Worn together, they obscure most of the defining features of the wearer's head. Okay. The corpse near the entrances. His partner was snatched by a claw from the dark or something like that. And then he himself got killed by the troll. So this must be the partner that was dragged by the troll before he dies. Before the first guy dies. Sorry about the bad grammar. Let me repeat. There's a corpse near the entrance. The memory tells the story of him walking in the sewers with another person. That other person was snatched by a troll before he himself got killed by the troll. His corpse is near the entrance to the catacomb, so this body must belong to the other guy that was first snatched. That was snatched first by the troll, and the troll must have dragged him here. Voidica Hood. Good. Now I don't need to now I don't need to potentially cause any trouble for the initiate. Very well.
Hey. The dozens. Pretty sure you won't find one among them who stood within 100 miles of that bridge when the Godhammer went off. Too bad, too. Soon there'd be less of them.
The dead shakes his head with a bitter smile. Aris says, "Why do they call themselves the Dozens?" Adair says, "Was 12 dear Woodens stood outside Halgoth's citadel, waiting for Widewen to cross the bridge there. They had to hold him there long enough for the Godhammer to detonate, so that's what they did." Arismital says, "Godhammer?" Adair says, "That's what they called the bomb they blew up Widewen with. Don't know much about it other than that. Anything kills a living god, guess you gotta name it." Arismital says, "What do you have against the Dozens?" Adair says, nothing serious. Nothing I don't have against a lot of folks anyway. The Dozens, they like to take things into their own hands, gets ugly sometimes. We don't have them in Gilded Vale, but they'd be right at home there." Okay. Adair says, "They picked that name so they could do what they wanted and feel like it was right. Got nothing to do with honor or sacrifice. They like to invoke Magran too, when they especially want to feel right. Somehow I don't think she'd be too impressed with that lot. I'm sure she'd like to set them on fire anytime they use her name. But the gods probably got rules against that kind of thing." Arismital says, "There must be plenty of other groups that are better reflections of the figures that inspired them." Adair says, "Sure, I just can't think of any off the top of my head. I shouldn't say that. There's a group of Euthasians, the night market. They still do right by their god, helped get a lot of people to safety during the purges." Oh, must be during the beginning of the White One's legacy, yeah? Oh, no. He was talking about... I think Eder was talking about the aftermath of the invasion by White One's army from Reatzeras. After White One's army was defeated, I think Eder said they outlaw Eustachian worship. Eustachian's worship. And many of the faithful were massacred, something like that. Adair says, "They are easy to forget about though, because they have to work in secret. You can thank people like the dozens for that too. Work in secrets? You mean like the leaden key? Arismital says, let's continue on. Adair says, good idea. Wait, where's the hood that I just picked up? Voidica hood, where is it? Wait, where is it? I just picked it up. From the corpse, previously, right? Am I imagining things? Wait a minute, where is the hood? Did I take the hood or not? Did I forget to take the hood? I must have forgotten to take the hood. Dang it. Okay, so I return to the corpse again and I cannot click on its body. So I must have taken it, but I've checked my inventory and it's nowhere to be found. Where is the hood? See? There are no Voidica hood in the character's inventory. This is a normal hood. No hood. And the newest item acquired always be put in the at the end, I think. And at the end there's only a normal hood, the one that I moved from the inventory to the chest. I tried to look here, no hood as well. Where is the Voidica hood located? Dang it, am I imagining things? Am I losing my mind? Okay, so it turns out I don't have to wear the hood from the inventory. It is there as one of the options. Alright, you hear murmurs and chants on the other side of the door. A ritual of some sort is already underway. Arismital dons the hood and mask. You pull the hood and mask over your head. They're uncomfortable, but they seem to hide your face. Arismital continues into the chamber alone. Of course, there's only one hood. You open the door and stride into the chamber. Shrouded woman. Several shrouded figures are lined up across from a hooded woman. The figure at the head of the line approaches her, and the woman places her outstretched hand on the stranger's forehead. They stand in silent communion as you look on. A few moments later, the stranger steps aside and resumes his place in the circle around the statue. The woman turns toward you. She says, "You are late, attendant." Even though her face is concealed, you sense her rage in her dangerously low voice and in the sudden silence of the others in the chamber.
I've been waiting on your reports. Quickly now, state your name and purpose.
The narration said that the woman has a low, dangerous voice. To me, her voice sounds sexy, sexual even. The narration was misleading. The woman beckons you closer with curling fingers. She rests her open hand on your forehead, and you feel the heat from her palm through the thick material of your hood. Her voice is so low and soft that you're not certain whether she's speaking aloud or in your head. I see. Arismital says, "My name belongs to the gods, and my hand to their service."
What company do you seek?
Her voice chimes again, rich and resonant. Arismital says, "I seek the company." I'm tempted to answer number 2, but will it fail my quest? I'm tempted to answer number 2 actually. Is that okay? But I don't want to fail my disguise. Arismital says, "I seek the company of shadows, that our labors may remain secret."
Tell me of your labors.
Arismital says, "To see that the craft of Kith and Wilder does not disturb what bones the gods have buried."
How do we know your purpose?
The voice rings like a bell between your ears. Arismital says, "You shall know it by the confession of my tongue, the deeds of my hand, and the oath on my soul."
And how is your oath guarded?
Arismital says, "It is sealed by the leaden key."
Welcome, attendant. Tell me of your exploits.
Her voice reaches you as a whisper, slithering first into one ear and then the other. In your mind you see a building magnificent with trellises and tiles and located on a pristine boulevard. The wealthy and learned stroll in and out, trading knowledge and coin.
Does he wait still?
Yet it also houses a misery and madness. Somewhere within its rotten core sits a man, in his hair matted but his eyes alert. He watches and waits, a prisoner by choice. The acolyte's question echoes in your mind. Does he wait still? Arismital says, "I don't know."
Did they arrive?
The acolyte's vision takes you out of Defiance Bay and to a town in the wilderness with a watermill. A signpost on one of the paths reads, "Deerford." Several figures huddle together, shrouded in cloaks and hoods. An image of ruin suddenly looms in your mind. Two skeletal effigies flank a cleft in the mountainside. Did they arrive? Arismital says, "It's uncertain."
Your information shall be relayed. Now, for your next task.
The ruins fade from your mind, and in their place is a palimpsest of a neighborhood. Run-down estates are cobbled around a cemetery, and an ancient tower. Savage shapes prowl the streets, and in the tower a man hunches over a strange mechanism. You can't see him clearly, but there's something unnatural about him.
Stop him. And above all, don't let him meet her.
You see a woman, deathly pale with a scar over her heart. The acolyte shows you a door in the base of the tower, a seemingly impenetrable slab of stone and copper. But then she shows you the invisible split between the perfectly matched halves, and you understand how the copper veins convert a command into action. The command comes to your mind, surprising familiarity about it. You know how to open the door. Okay, the acolyte told me to stop him, and above all, don't let him meet her. Her? A woman with deathly pale, with a scar over her heart. Okay. Arismital says, I shall. Her hand rests slightly on your head. She says, have you any questions, attendant? Arismital says, what is this place? Shrouded woman says, this is what remains of the temple of Voidica. The acolyte shows you a grand structure surrounded by the faithful. The fires of revolution destroyed everything above us and left the remains abandoned, perfect for our purposes. Arismital says, who are you? Acolyte says, I am the acolyte. Is all you need to know. Arismital says, remind me about the man in the tower. You see a palimpsest, okay. The same texts. Arismital says, could I see the vision of the ruins again? Arismital says, show me the prisoner. Arismital says, farewell. All right. Oh, a report from Versailles, I think. This tells the story of the apothecary being harassed and hunted by the pirates. So I sent Versailles. The name of the apothecary is Tamawatua. Okay, now let's read the report. Joining 5 other Eastern Reach mercenaries, Versailles became a passenger on an Aumaua longship, swift and full of weapon-bearing sailors. The ship came into regular conflict with pirates during the pursuit of Tama's kidnappers. Oh. So Tama has been kidnapped. Eventually, Versailles and the crew spotted the Vailian caravel holding Tama and were able to overtake it before it reached open water. With grapples and a fair share of acrobatics, the mercenaries and Aumaua sailors boarded the caravel with Versailles in tow. The battle on the ship's deck was so thick with pistol fire that the smoke made it difficult to tell friend from foe. In the confusing melee, Versailles came face to face with the pirate captain. In the subsequent scuffle, the longship collided with the caravel and sent it lurching. The captain slid down a length of the deck and was knocked overboard by a poorly secured cannon. With their leader sinking beneath the waves, the remaining pirates quickly surrendered or dove into the water in an attempt to escape to a nearby island. Upon Tama's return, his friends and family held a huge feast to honor him, Versailles, and everyone else that helped save him. Woohoo! Mission success! Congratulations, Versailles. Lavender wreath. Immunity to sicken, irritating. This beautiful lavender wreath was a gift from the famed Aumaua apothecary Tamawatua. He made it at a feast after you rescued him from Vilean mercenary in the Deadfire archipelago. Despite the age of the lavender, it still smells fresh. Ooh, congratulations, Verse, on your first mission.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very quiet.
Shrouded man, talk to the acolyte in charge here. We'll rebuild the temple someday. Are you supposed to be at post? Get back to your post. No names here, initiate. This is one of the few truly forgotten places in this bay. It feels good to serve the gods even in secret.
Let's keep quiet.
Devotees have placed assorted keys, their teeth filled away among the runnels of wax. Okay, I was misreading it. Devotees have placed assorted keys, their teeth filed away among the runnels of wax. The man who waits. The leaden key acolyte showed me a vision of an agent in a place of misery. I need to find this agent and discover his or her plan to see if it holds any clues, finding the man I'm searching for. Undying heritage. The acolyte showed me a vision of an ancient tower in a derelict district of Defiance Bay. There was a strange man in the tower working on some kind of machine. I also saw a woman with a scar over her heart. I don't know where she is, but I suspect that she holds the key, whatever happened there. The leaden key was interested in this tower for a reason. I need to understand what it does if I'm to figure out their plans. The acolyte told me not to let the man meet the woman with the scar over her heart. Following this lead will require locating the tower. Asking around would be a place to start, perhaps among the patrolling justiciars who would know the city well. The man who waits. If I am to find this person, I will need to find this neighborhood. Perhaps the guards will know of it. Through Death's Gate, the acolyte's vision showed me mysterious ruins somewhere outside of Dierford. The leaden key has sent operatives to find the site, though their purpose is unknown to me. Travel to Dierford village. I don't know exactly where these ruins are, but perhaps someone in Dierford village. Okay. The steward of Kaidnua has received a letter for you. What? Speak to the steward. Durgan's Battery. A letter has arrived at Kaidnua, addressed to its new ruler. The steward believes it may present an interesting opportunity. The steward has requested my presence at Kaidnua, as she has a matter of some importance to discuss. Later, my dear steward. For now, I'm going to take a rest with my companions and see what we're going to do next. No, wait, no rest yet. What is this? A ghost? Let's talk, ghost.
Come to pay your respects to the queen that was.
A ghost hovers in the middle of the ruin, reciting blessings and prayers, even as the spirit's form shifts and swirls. It retains the face of an elderly man and robes that mark wealth and status. It turns to you. Arismital says, "Who are you?"
Lord Ardwellen Rugfold III, and pleased to make your acquaintance. I came to the Deerwood on one of the first ships from Adia, and unlike the yokels and hut dwellers around here, I still keep to the old ways.
His cloudy eyes swim with resentment. So this Lord Ardwellen Rugfold III's ghost came from Idir on a ship to Deerwood. So this must be before the Defiance War. The War of Defiance, right? What was his name again? I forgot. Rudwellen? Rufald? Okay, let's call him Rufald. I don't remember his name. Rufald says, "It's truly a pity to see what the locals have done to Woidika's house of worship.
Lord Ardwellen Rugfold III, and pleased to make your acquaintance. I came to the Deerwood on one of the first ships from Adia, and unlike the yokels and hut dwellers around here, I still keep to the old ways."
Okay, let's remember the name. Ardwellen Rugfold III. Lord Ardwellen Rugfold III. Arismital says, "What are you doing?"
Worshipping Woodika, the exiled queen and oathbinder. I come every day to offer my devotion. I'd love nothing more than to book passage back to Adia, but it is my emperor's wish that I serve in these barbaric lands, and so I do.
Ardwellen Rugfold's expression fades into confusion. He shrugs. Arismital says, "I'd like to know more about Woidika."
A queen among the gods. She oversees laws and oaths. Everything has a rightful place, and Woodika watches over them all.
Adwelen's ghost's hazy features sharpen with delight. I see. Voidica, the goddess, a queen.
Of course, not everyone accepts this. Even among the other gods, her authority is questioned. But Voidica is also goddess of memory and vengeance, and she remembers. She'll remember every slight and trespass when she reclaims her throne.
Adwelen's ghost expression churns. Slowly, Adwelen's ghost nods. Adesmital says, "You know that you're a ghost, right?"
I beg your pardon? Is this some sort of joke where you come from?
Adesmital says, "I'm serious. Just look at yourself."
A madhouse. That's what this town really needs.
Adwelen's ghost closes his eyes and massages his temple with wispy fingers. Adesmital says goodbye. Adwelen's ghost says, "It's truly a pity to see what the locals have done to Voidica's house of worship." What is this? Gaffol the drunkard. Gaffol the drunkard, a local inebriate, has wandered onto the stronghold grounds. He is asking for help with his accumulated debts. Okay, I'll meet you, but later. For now, me and my companions are going to rest.